Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport. We're back, and it's a big night. It's November 5th. Our American listeners will probably see this as a big day. As Canadians, I see it as the first day of basically winter.
It's a weather thing? That's what's interesting about today?
Well, I just find like Halloween happens, and then it's just all of a sudden it's like, even if there's not snow on the ground, everything is Christmas, so I might as well be shoveling snow or something.
I don't really sense it, to be honest.
I think I hang out at shops more than you do, and they're already pushing.
No, I don't think so. I attend shops almost daily.
Then I don't.
Yeah.
Then you're oblivious to the music and decorations that they're putting up. I see Christmas stuff everywhere already. It's November 5th.
I saw Christmas stuff up for the past month and a half.
We're not here to talk about Christmas. We're here to keep Canada weird by seeking out, highlighting, exploring, celebrating the weird news stories that played out across Canada over the past week. But before we get to that, we have a few things to do. First, I want to talk to you about what we're drinking.
Of course, that's what everyone's here to see is what are we drinking tonight?
Yeah, I got something special. I went to like a Freak Lunchbox, which is like a cool candy store in Halifax. I wanted to get something different to shock you. So I bought something called Mountain Dew Blue.
I'm shocked.
What do you got over there?
I've got something to shock you as well. A bottle of Dasani water.
Wow, you madman. This is going to be a big one. Now that the drinks are out of the way, let's get into it here. So I have two different episode formats prepared for us, and I'm going to give you the option of what you want to do. So again, we're recording this on the 5th of November. It's a Tuesday. There's an election in the United States. We can either focus specifically on the American election, give opinions and theories and maybe predictions on that, or we can look at the weird news stories related to Halloween that played out across Canada over the past week. What do you think?
Right. I would like to focus on the weird Halloween related stories instead of the election. I am following the election closely in the background this evening.
Boring. That's all I want to hear about the election.
Okay, well, all right, fine. I'll shut up about the things I care about.
You already said too much. I'm going to get hate mail just by you even mentioning it.
No, because by the time this airs, this typically will come out on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So the election will have come and gone, and the winner will be announced already. And listen, you are on thin ice with me tonight, sir.
No, we're turning over a new leaf. We talked about it last week. This show.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to.
This is positive.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I love you.
Let's jump right into the positivity. We have a listener named Courtney wants to weigh in on, well, you'll hear for yourself. She has some positive things to say about you.
Mm-hmm.
Not as many about me, but I'm still going to call this a positive email. Here it comes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Courtney. I just wanted to say thank you for a great show, and I've enjoyed listening and watching you throughout the last few years. Jordan, I just have something to say to you. You should lay off Aaron. He is the pride of Cape Breton. He has an angelic voice. I've seen him in person. And he is not the one who moved away from Cape Breton. He stayed loyal to his roots, and he's back here working full time. And where are you? No, you're not in Cape Breton. You're in Halifax. So I think you should be nicer to Aaron. He deserves that. Thank you. Bye.
For the record, Aaron, I think I am very nice to you. And although I live in Halifax and away from Cape Breton, I still maintain the accent to the extent that my kids who have never lived in Cape Breton have Cape Breton accents. So I am proud to stay true to my roots.
You know, even though you did move away, Jordan, your heart is still here. I know that because we're positive now. I'm not going to say anything negative about where you live and how you left me all those years ago. And I'm not going to hold any resentment over that.
Nope.
And I'm not going to mention at all how my heart is still broken to this day when you walked away from everything you and I built together.
Let's get into the first story. Speaking of building things together, building a Halloween display outside of your house is quite complicated. I'm someone, I love Halloween, and I couldn't bring myself to like go over the top with decorations this year, although I wanted to. Maybe next year I'm going to ramp it up. I think I may get like a smoke machine. But I want to share the first Halloween story that came across my desk. This one is going to take us to our neighboring province of New Brunswick. It involves a Halloween display, which to some people, at least to one person, is too scary. For the last 5 years, a young Halloween enthusiast in Moncton, New Brunswick, has been going all out to bring some spooky fun to his neighborhood. 14-year-old Mason Louis spends his own money that he often earns working as a hockey referee to expand his front yard display every October. But this year's setup caught a neighbor's attention for being a bit too scary. Here's the story of the scary animatronic and the weird notes. Here it comes.
For the last 5 years, 14-year-old Mason Louis has poured his heart, soul, and his own money into decorating every October.
I really like the mechanics on how these things work and just the idea of doing it. And I also just like bringing memories to the kids.
Each Halloween, he adds more decorations. This year, that included a larger-than-life character.
And the mouth matches with the rib cage and changes colors, and the eyes are like an LED liquid crystal type of electronic where the eyes actually blink and move.
It's an addition that one neighbor found too scary to be on display. Just days before Halloween, the Louis received 2 notes. The first one read in part, "I have taped a large heart to its midsection to remove the fear factor slightly so the children may not hold their breath and close their eyes as they pass by." When they removed the heart, another note appeared, saying in part, "I see you have decided to remove the heart after all. May every sock you wear be slightly rotated, just enough to be uncomfortable."
Bit put off by it in that someone actually felt that way, and we're not here to offend anybody or anything like that.
Dozens of people shared their support online for the display, and the neighbor has since apologized to the family for her notes. But it does raise the question, is there a scary limit when it comes to public displays?
Definitely not too spooky. Too gory could be a thing, but spookier the better.
That's what Halloween's about. You can avoid houses. I have friends that have moved away to like Shediac and stuff, and they're like, sucks. Nobody puts up decorations.
As for Mason, he says his display is actually designed for the whole family.
If you're going to bring your kids and you want to get some good photos, you can go through the graveyard. But just be warned, as soon as you push them over to the carnival area, there is stuff that will jump at you, and there is people who will jump at you.
And this year, the Halloween takeaway is more than just candy.
I guess what it is people need to be nice to each other.
Aaron, do not make fun of Mason. He's a good kid.
I don't have any intentions to make fun of Mason. Why, I don't know.
When he was saying, like, if I'm going to warn you, go to the graveyard, I saw a look in your eyes where I thought Aaron's going to say something about this kid.
No, I don't have anything. I am showing up in full and total support of Mason.
Good, me too. I like this kid. I like his passion for the holidays. I like his dad's support of his interests. I think the scary part of this story and the scary part of this Christmas display is the neighbor who left these bizarre notes. In that news clip, they only read like an abbreviated version of them. Do you want to hear the whole note?
Oh, absolutely. I want to hear the whole note.
So Mason and his dad put up this big display that involves a bunch of like the large animatronics you'd see at like Spirit Halloween or whatever hardware store, the big tall things. And they had like kind of like a little haunted housey thing that you can go inside of. But it seemed like this weirdo neighbor had a problem with this giant kind of demon thing that's eyes lit up that was on the front lawn looking towards the street. So the first note appears and it says, "Dear sir or ma'am, some young neighborhood children have to walk by your disgusting," then in brackets, no offense, "your disgusting, no offense, house every morning when it's still dark, and were frightened by the glowing eyes of your tall, ugly brown creature. Therefore, I have taped a large heart to its midsection to remove the fear factor slightly so the children may not hold their breath and close their eyes as they pass by. You may remove it if that's your desire, but who knows, another might pop up somewhere. Jesus loves you. Sincerely, the most awesome person on the block. So that note is
Oh,
left at the
wow.
door, and there's a
Mhm.
heart pinned up to the animatronic. So just that much alone, that is a weird thing to do.
Yeah, and to bring Jesus into it in a, a secular holiday that we celebrate, I think is inappropriate for this note leaver.
Yeah.
And also to call themselves what was it, the
The
best
the most
neighbor on the block?
awesomest
The most
person.
awesome person on the block.
Awesomest. That's the like the
Awesomest,
so
yeah.
they're weirdos and they're like just cringy. These people.
Yeah, this is definitely the villain of the story is the note leaver. Again, this is an audio show, but for the people who can see the news broadcast or who maybe Google it later, you can see the visual evidence that this is not a too scary for public
Mm-mm,
consumption
mm-mm.
display. This is just the normal things that you buy at Home Depot to put on your lawn.
Yeah, the exact animatronic that this person is worried about, I think I've seen at Home Depot and maybe at Walmart and Costco. Like it's that sort of stuff. We're not. I think last year we talked about a story. It may have been in Ontario or in Quebec where neighbors alleged that this one family went too far with their decorations. And if I remember correctly, it looked like it was a bunch of bodies wrapped in like sheets and there was like blood.
Well, it was somebody hanging from a tree looking like they had hung themselves. And it was a very realistic looking body, and it was hanging from a noose on a tree.
We agreed that that was crossing a line. In this case, this story, Mason's yard is not at all. It's really well. It's just really decorated. But anyway, to get back to the notes, so the heart's put on the large demony thing. That note's left at the door. It seems like Mason or his family remove the heart from the chest of this thing, and that's when a second note appears, and it says, "Salutations. I see you decided to remove the heart after all. May every sock you wear be slightly rotated just enough to be uncomfortable, and may your cookie always be too big for your glass of milk. But Jesus still loves you. Sincerely, you already know."
You already know the most awesomest neighbor in the block, the most awesomest person.
It's just weird.
Uh,
It's not threatening or anything, but
or
I
it's
like.
not clever either. Like if it was clever, if there was some wordplay that was interesting there, then I could get on board with it. If it seemed like they were kind of having a little fun in a good way, in a clever way, I could get behind it, but it's not interesting or clever or thought through very well. It's just
I think it's just
like,
weird.
may your cookie be too big for your glass of milk? Like, I would hope so. I love big cookies.
Hmm. And also, like, stay off my yard and don't screw with my son's decorations, you weirdo. But it's in the end, we heard in this news clip that the neighbor responsible for these notes like apologized. So I don't know what that was like. Maybe everyone in this
Yeah.
neighborhood knows there's this one nut and she, goes around doing this stuff, and maybe they knew right from the beginning. But either way, I thought this was an interesting Halloween story.
It was, and I'm again, it's one of those situations that we come across often in stories that we cover is that they're not able to interview the neighbor. There was no interview
Oh.
of this person. It would have been nice
Could you
to.
imagine the magic if they did interview this person? Because I'm sure they would light up the camera.
I'm sure they would. Yeah, they would definitely add a spark to this story, and maybe there'll be an update. Maybe in Easter or Christmas time when they possibly put up some Christmas decorations. Maybe this neighbor, the most awesomest person in the neighborhood, puts up a bunch of Jesus themed Christmas
Oh
decorations,
yeah, like
and
this
then they
epic manger
leave.
scene.
Yeah, and then they leave some notes on her baby Jesus.
Okay, that could get interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's move away from this maybe too scary display to a two-pack of stories that I will consider as the worst and best Canadian news stories related to trick or treat giving. So we have the best treats in Canada and the worst treats in Canada in two separate stories. Should we start with the worst and then end on a positive note, given our new direction in this show?
Yeah, let's start with the worst.
All right. We'll call this story Razors for Halloween. As we heard in the last story, religion has no place in Halloween, and politics has no place in Halloween, except maybe in the form of a silly costume related to a politician. But like political toxic vitriol certainly is out of line. And that's why I want to put shame on these pricks in Calgary that use Halloween to spout off on Justin Trudeau. And I'm all for political criticism, but this is out of line.
Some trick-or-treaters in Calgary were met with this on Halloween night. A bowl filled with disposable razors with a sign reading, "Sorry, we can't afford apples because of Trudeau. So this year, just razors." The sign was spotted in the community of Bowness, and while Calgary police confirm they received a report of razors being handed out, there is not enough evidence to indicate a criminal offense occurred.
Well, what is the message here? Because I told my son about this, my 12-year-old, and he's like, wouldn't razors be more expensive than candy? And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, especially if they were giving out Mach 3s. That would
Even
be...
the disposable ones. Like you can buy like 100 little candy bars for like $15. There's no way you're getting 100 razors for $15.
Yeah, unless they subscribe to the Dollar Shave Club. I mean, maybe they're getting their razors on a discount, but yeah, it would have been a different story if a child had hurt themselves with these razors.
Yeah.
That would have changed the landscape of this story altogether. But fortunately, nobody was hurt. But yeah, because you'll see households, like if they can't be home or something during Halloween, and they'll leave a bowl of candy out with a note like, please take your fair share of whatever it is that I have in the bowl.
And I respect the people who do that, who leave the bowl of candy out, and I certainly respect the people who do take their fair share.
But so this was kind of a play off of that, and leaving the razors instead of the apples. I don't know. It's in poor taste again. It's one of those things, and yeah, it doesn't have any place in Halloween. Halloween is for the kids to have fun, show up, dress up, trick or treat. So I don't really care for this at all. This activity of leaving dangerous items on your step during Halloween.
Yeah, I think someone thought they were being a little funny and clever, but no, I don't think so. Also, we heard in that clip, like the police like looked into it. It doesn't seem like it was criminal.
I couldn't tell from the story, but usually like a disposable razors have a plastic guard on them when you buy them. I couldn't tell if the plastic guard was on the razors or not. It was hard to tell.
That's a good point.
So that also was kind of, if they took the plastic guards off, if I were a lawyer and I were trying to prosecute these individuals, and the plastic guards were taken off, I would say that is intent to harm, because they had taken the protective guard off of the razor.
Yeah, I guess maybe they got. I just don't get it, and that's why I give them the award for the worst participant in Halloween treat giving during the 2024 Halloween season. Let's move on to what I think is probably going to be considered the best treat giving, and we may need to have a calculator on hand in a moment, and you'll see why. This story takes us not far from where I am right now. A family in Millbrook, Nova Scotia, has gained and maintained a reputation for giving out the best Halloween treats. And no, they're not full bars. No, they're not full-size cans of pop. They give out cash. $20 bills. Here's the story of the Gugu family's amazing contribution to Halloween. Here it comes.
This is Halloween. What we have here today is a celebration for my grandmother, because my dad's mom would always celebrate Halloween and Christmas, and it was a way for her to give joy to everyone and give back to the community and the kids. And she really enjoyed it. So my dad Chris Gugu, he wants to carry on that tradition for his mother. Kids come here, they can expect to have a free barbecue, they can get a free treat bag. Growing up, my dad didn't really have too much. So for Halloween, he would give away $20 bills in each treat bag, and he's done this for 2 years now. This year, he didn't advertise it. It's a way to give back, and I feel like that's because he didn't have much growing up.
It's our second Halloween here, but it's our first time here in Millbrook, and this is our first time to see a generous family like this, and we are so happy to have them, and everybody is enjoying the Halloween.
2 years ago, we had 400 kids. Last year, we had 800 kids, and we're expecting over 1,000 kids to come for Halloween this year.
This is amazing. It's probably the best place we've ever gone to, and we've been in Nova Scotia for almost 10 years now. And this is our first time being here.
I remember the joy of getting like the full-size candy bar or a full-size bag of chips. As a kid, if some home gave me a $20 bill, oh man, what I would probably do is just like change my mask and go back.
Oh, see, you would spoil it for everybody else.
But that was because I was young and immature and wouldn't know better. Now, as an adult, I tip my hat to this family, the Goo Goos. What a great way to celebrate and make Halloween special and honor the legacy of, I think it was like the grandmother who, like, Halloween was a big day for her. I love that.
Yeah. And it reminded me of when I was a young trick-or-treater. I would normally trick-or-treat in my neighborhood, but every once in a while I would go to my cousin's neighborhood. And there was one house that used to give out, whenever we would trick-or-treat around his place, they would give out small little Halloween baggies that had 2 quarters in them, 50 cents.
And even that would be special, eh?
Oh, I was over the moon about my 50 cents. I thought I was the wealthiest trick-or-treater in the world.
Something like a $20 bill. I've never seen anything like that. And that's only one aspect of this. They're also doing, like, they have a haunted house display built, set up. They're doing a barbecue and giving people food. So this one family is like single-handedly like running like a community Halloween party / event with a pretty high budget. I mentioned needing a calculator. I just did some rough math. Well, it's actually exact math because I use a calculator. But
well, don't you know?
They're giving out $20 bills, and it said that they got about 800 people. That's $16,000 they spent on this, just on the trick-or-treating.
Yeah. So I'm wondering who is working security at this event. So a lot of people will complain when older teenagers trick or treat. So at this Halloween event where they're giving out $20 per kid, if a 17-year-old walks up expecting a treat bag and $20, them and their buddies, are they going to get that treat bag and $20, or are they going to get turned away?
They better have good homemade costumes. If they show up in their regular clothes with their crappy little mustaches coming in, I wouldn't give them crap.
Yeah. So obviously there's an age cutoff with some degree, there's an age cutoff. So,
yeah.
And who enforces that? Who decides? Obviously they decide, but that would be interesting because when word gets out that you're getting $20 to go there, plus, some hamburgers and some candy and there's a DJ playing, and it's a bit of a party, and
it sounds like such an awesome time. I love that this is happening in Nova Scotia. There's a lot worse things you could do with 16 grand or whatever this costs them. But let's actually, since we're on the topic of money, let's use this as an opportunity to take a quick break. When we get back, we have another story involving money, but it's our only non-Halloween related story of the evening, I think. Let's take a quick step away and we'll be right back. Aaron, our last story concerned a family giving out cash for Halloween. This next one also involves cash being given out, but it has a big twist. A woman in British Columbia, Vanita Lindsay, initially accepted a job with the federal government. However, she ended up declining the position before any work began. The problem, you see, is that the government still paid her, and they continued to pay her for months, despite her asking them not to. Here's the story of the government that keeps paying for the job you don't do.
$8,816.20. That's how much money Vanita Lindsay has been paid for a job she has never worked. This story begins roughly a year ago when the stay-at-home mom decided to apply for a federal government job that would allow her to work from home.
They said that I was added to a hiring pool.
She was then asked to take a few online tests. She got an interview and in July was offered a clerk position at a call center for the Canada Pension Plan. Not being in the job force for 20 years and living with a chronic illness, Vanita began to have second thoughts just days before starting her new job.
So then I emailed the next morning and said, I'm sorry, it's nothing to do with you guys or anything like that, but I just can't do the job. So I thought that was that. You go on and enjoy your summer.
Fast forward to August 14th. That's when she checked her online banking.
I'm like, oh my God, they paid me.
She immediately emailed her would-be supervisor and got no reply. 2 weeks later,
I got paid again.
She has now sent numerous emails, made multiple phone calls to be told that either the issue has been dealt with or that it is currently being looked into. Mixed messaging, all while the money continues to roll in. She has now received 6 paychecks in total, which she knows will need to be paid back.
I put it all into a different account because it's not my money.
The family has been trying to pay back the money with no success.
With my husband's career, I don't need that money. You know, it should go to someone that is struggling to feed their kids.
She's also concerned her family will be bumped into a higher tax bracket, as well as affect her pharmacare and child tax benefit.
It's hilarious and like weird and kind of messed up.
CTV News reached out to the federal government today for comment. We did not get a response by deadline. In the meantime, Vanita just wants the paychecks to stop.
I want it done because it's ridiculous.
Let's be completely honest here. So this happens to you. How many emails and phone calls do you make to the federal government about this problem?
Oh, as many as it takes, because knowing how the federal government operates, at some point in time, they're going to be looking for that money back.
Yeah, the army shows up at your door.
Yeah, so it may seem loosey-goosey at first, like, well, I mean, I tried emailing them, and the paychecks keep coming, so it's their fault now, and the money's mine.
Here I am.
You know.
I'm now in Toronto, and
yeah, so I would definitely be putting that money aside and definitely making every effort every 2 weeks, sending them I got another pay, please stop this. Let me know how to return the money, blah, blah, blah. But in the meantime, I'd be putting that money into some kind of a high interest savings account or something and at least make a few bucks off of it.
Okay, that's the accountant in you talking. That's a smart strategy. I think in the end, we heard there over a period of like 3 months, she got about $8,000. So yeah, she could have made maybe $100 or something on interest if she put it into.
Yeah, she'd make a couple bucks. I mean, you could get into some riskier investments, but
then you're gambling with money that's not yours.
Yeah, but you could just throw it into a high interest savings account, and a lot of them have promotional interest rates for the first 3 months, so you'd nab a quick couple $100 right off the top. I think so.
You're probably more reasonable than me, and you have a better background in this. When I hear this story, my first thought would be like I'd send like 1 or 2 emails, maybe make a call, and then I would probably just sit that money somewhere and not touch it and see what happens. I think if she didn't push it and she put that money into some kind of high interest savings account, maybe it would take them a year or some, maybe even more until the point that they get, generate T4s and stuff. But then again, like we heard in that clip, it could cause some problems with her, like all these different government benefits and
it can absolutely cause a lot of havoc. Yeah, it's a domino effect for sure. So she's doing the right thing by going to the media and trying to get as much attention to this as possible, because again, at some point down the road, they're going to come looking for that money.
There's no way a defense of like, well, you guys shouldn't have paid me and you did, so it's my money. That wouldn't work.
Yeah, no. Once the government realizes that they made a mistake, it's up to you to fix it. So
yeah. We do have a follow-up here. It seems like All her phone calls and emails didn't get the job done, but going on the news did. After appearing on the news, she got a call from some kind of manager within the government who explained that the problem's been resolved and that she was going to get a letter in the mail that will direct her on how to repay the government this money she shouldn't have gotten. But it seems like there's still some question about how this income is going to affect her taxes and if she'll still get a T4 or if they're going to allow her to just give the money back and it's a clean slate. So it could still be complicated down the road, but it's a weird problem that, that this could happen. But I could see how it could happen. If they're hiring a bunch of people, you get stuck on the payroll and then you quit the job, but the word doesn't get back to the right people. I could see how a mistake like that could happen. The problem, though, is when she made them aware of this pay that she shouldn't have got, it should have been fixed, by the next pay cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to segue to the next voicemail I have. Got a really weird one the other day. I don't know if it's even for us. So I want to just play it for you, and maybe you can tell me what is going on here. There was no email address, no name. This was just an anonymous message from someone who is willing to send us images, but on certain conditions. Listen to this one.
Okay.
Willing to share images once I speak to somebody that is not going to make a fool out of me.
What's that about?
That's about images and fools.
There was no other information attached, just willing to share images when I speak to someone who is willing to not make a fool out of me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I wonder, are they UFO related images or?
That was my first thought is because often people will take photos of things they believe to be UFOs, and I'm always interested in seeing those photos, and I would never criticize someone.
Yeah,
But,
so why would they think that if they're UFO related photos, why would they think that you would make a fool out of them for something that you encourage and fully support
and celebrate? Yeah, I think if there's any people if there's anyone you're going to be sending images to,
it's like
I think
writing
we're a safe place.
It's like writing your Christmas letter to Santa Claus and asking him to not make a fool out of you for writing the letter, for asking for toys.
It's a good analogy. I want to also play another voicemail here that calls back to something we talked about last week. You remember the troublesome turkey that was terrorizing a neighborhood, doing things like pecking at cars, but most horrifyingly, it was pointing its beak at people?
Mm-hmm.
That may have just been a big misunderstanding. I want to play you a voicemail we got from Cammie. She has some thoughts on this turkey pointing its beak at people.
Hi, correspondent Cami from Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States. And I'm just listening to the episode, and there was a story about the turkey pointing. Sorry, the turkey pointing his beak at the lady. And I'm obsessed with turkeys, and Instagram is full of them. He just wants a hug. They're huggers, and for the most part. Uh, I think this turkey was saying, I want you to come and hug me. That was it. So it was really a story of love and kindness that we're missing out on. So anyway, love the show. Bye guys.
Cammie's Instagram feed full of turkeys hugging people is way more innocent than mine when I start flipping through.
Yeah. I like that she brought a lot of positivity to the show because we've been trying to make the show a much more healthy and positive place as of late. And is certainly her advice is to hug the turkey is the complete opposite advice that the officials gave. The wildlife officials were saying
would be spray them with water, right?
Spray it with a hose or, scream at it. And it's kind of how things, I think, will go awry when we finally have first contact with aliens as they touch down and they're just looking for hugs and we're spraying them with our garden hoses.
Yeah, the world needs more cammies. We're recording this as an American election's happening. Why isn't there a candidate who embraces kind of the love and compassion for people who are different than them, like Cammy does?
Yeah, yeah. Cammy certainly brought some sunshine to our nighttime.
We're going to have a quick ad break, and when we get back, that sunshine is going to is the sunshine we're enjoying now, thanks to Cammy, is going to fade away. The sky is going to turn black. We have a story of Halloween hijinks. We're going to be talking vandalism when we get back. All right, Aaron, Halloween is about trick-or-treating. It is about eating too much candy. It's about great costumes. But one thing that's really like affixed itself to Halloween is like petty acts of vandalism, mischief, troublemaking. Don't they call it Devil's Night in some places?
The night before Halloween is Devil's Night, yeah.
Okay. And you're supposed to go out and like cause trouble?
Well, I don't think it's quite as adhered to now as it used to be, but I know in the 90s, I think Devil's Night really became popular from the movie The Crow.
Mm-hmm.
It was referenced in that movie as being a real kind of night of mischief and vandalism and yeah.
All right. Well, regardless of that, we have a story, the one significant news story that I could find online about mischief during the 2024 Halloween season. I have for us here. Of course, I've found a bunch of stories of weird things like pins and such and being found in candy and like THC candy like we had last year. I skipped all that stuff. I was looking for a good old-fashioned mischief story. I found one here. This involves the story of a Vancouver Island senior who's out $350 after her house got egged. We got an article here. You want to read this one?
Sure. The devils and ghouls were out in full force in at least one area of the Cowishawn Valley on Halloween night. How do you say that? Cowishawn or
Cowichan?
Cowichan?
I don't know. Just here's how we'll do it. The devils and ghouls were out in full force in at least one area on Halloween night. You just skipped the complicated words.
Okay, you're right. The devils and ghouls.
Don't try so hard.
I'll try again. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. The devils and ghouls were out in full force in at least one area on Halloween night.
Good work.
Beverly Stone, who lives on Village Way near Berkey's Corner, was visiting her granddaughter on October 31st so she could have fun watching her granddaughter's children trick-or-treating in their neighborhood. When she returned home to her own residential neighborhood, the streets were packed with trick-or-treaters and many of their parents who were along to ensure their children were having a fun and safe night. At least most of them were, but other parents were, apparently, up to their own Halloween shenanigans. Stone said as she approached her home, some parents were standing on the street blocking her from pulling into her driveway. I asked them if they could move out of the way, but they just started mouthing off to me. And one even took a picture of my car's license plate in an attempt to intimidate me, she said. She did not know them. They finally got out of the way enough so I could get in the driveway, and I went into my house. When I woke up the next morning, the whole front of my house was covered in eggs. It was a dozen eggs, and I found the egg carton they came from under my neighbor's car. Stone said she believes the parents with whom she'd had the run-in the previous night were responsible for the egging of her house, and she couldn't imagine anyone else who would do that to her. She is elderly, so she couldn't clean the mess herself, and no family members that could do it were available at the time either. Eggs are hard to clean if they are left too long, so I had to call in a professional cleaning company to clean up the mess as soon as possible, and that cost me $350, she said. What kind of people would do this? All I wanted to do was drive into my driveway. I called the police and filed a report, but no one came because it wasn't considered an emergency.
No.
BC RCMP spokesman Alex, I'm going to say that again with our new rule.
Yeah.
BC RCMP spokesman Alex said there were no similar acts of vandalism reported to the local police on Halloween night, but noted such incidents are not always reported to the authorities. I couldn't pronounce Alex's last name.
Barube. Yeah, and I think that's interesting. If you just think of that last line, what the spokesperson says is there were no similar acts of vandalism reported on Halloween night, but such incidents are not always reported to the authorities. So what he's saying is like a bunch of that stuff happened, of course. Only one person called us to report her house being egged, and it was this lady who also like immediately, like, this story is coming just from her point of view, of course. But her version of it is she was coming home after doing this nice thing so someone could go trick or treating, and there were some parents standing in front of her driveway. So she asked them to move, and when they finally got out of the way, she was able to go in her house. What do you think actually happened? They started mouthing off to her as well in the middle of this. What do you think actually happened? Were they just blocking her driveway to pick a fight with some old lady? Or did she scream nonsense at them and act a fool so they went and got eggs?
I don't know. The way she tells it is that she was simply just trying to pull into her driveway. They were blocking the driveway, and then she asked them to move, and then they started engaging with her in a very confrontational manner, including taking a picture of her license plate. So I'm wondering, yeah, if the altercation is not quite as it appears on paper as she states it to be.
I'm 100% sure there's more to it. And I have a feeling if we say this so often, if the other side of the story made it to print, if we could hear these parents who definitely were the ones who threw the eggs, like a whole carton of eggs on one house, that's a targeted attack. She had to do something to generate $4 or $5 worth of eggs being thrown at her house. And I have a feeling it was her just being nasty to them as they're out with their kids trick-or-treating and blocked her driveway for a few minutes, or a few seconds, I should say.
Yeah, because I mean, they were probably hanging around the driveway while their kids were trick-or-treating, going in different houses. They were standing there. And maybe they were standing in a way that she didn't appreciate and felt like she couldn't drive through. And then, yeah, she probably said something saucy to them. I don't know. I mean, she's older, so I want to take her side immediately. But the thing that sparks me the most about this story is how she has family. She has family that she engages with because she went over to her, was it her granddaughter's house to watch her.
Yeah, so she was kind of passing out the treats at the house so someone else could go trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she has family in the area. So she said that her family wasn't available to help clean off the eggs at that time. Does that strike you as weird? Like why her family wouldn't come and help her clean the eggs off?
You don't even need to clean them. You just like I would just spray a hose at it for a minute and be done with it.
But I do understand where she's coming from in the sense of she's older. She might be, her mobility it could be quite possibly compromised. So she may find the act of cleaning off the eggs, especially after they've solidified a bit on her house, to be challenging, and a simple hosing down might not do it. So, because if that yolk is really ingrained into the siding,
like or brick and stuff, I could see that being a little gross.
Yeah, so I could see her needing assistance to do it for sure. So I can understand that. I don't understand why her family's not jumping to do it for her. So I don't know what their relationship is like. There's a lot of unknowns there. So then she had to pay $350 for a professional cleaning company to come and do it. So there's a lot that doesn't add up in this story. So it's hard to really take a side. I do prefer to take the side immediately of the elderly unless I have some kind of video evidence of them talking. Then
Yeah,
I can gauge their character a bit more.
I think the smoking gun in this story is the fact that it was a whole carton of eggs that seemed to be thrown at her house. One egg that could happen by just wrong place at your house is in the wrong place at the wrong time and it gets egged. But for them to stand outside and throw a whole bunch of eggs just at your house, like they didn't hit any of the neighbors' places. I don't know. I think she picked a fight on Halloween, the worst night of the year to mess with some people is Halloween night. Anyway, if more of this story comes out, we'll provide updates in the future.
Yeah, I can't see any more details of this story ever coming out.
Here's another thing: is how did it get in the news? Like, did her house got egged? No one could help her clean it, so she hired professionals, and she called the police. So they wouldn't do anything. So then she called like her local newspaper, and they ran the.
And they're
story.
like, "Well, we'll help you out.
Yeah,
we're
shine a
really
light on
bored."
this.
Yeah. There was, according to the police and according to the local paper, because they were, so bored, nothing else interesting happened on Halloween, that they're like, yeah, we'll cover your pathetic story.
Egging.
Yeah.
I think it's that all said. I think we also got to put a bow on this. Is there anything else we need to do? Anything else we need to get into?
No, I think we kept it pretty positive today, although there was some negativity within the stories. I think you and I, for the most part, we almost slipped a little bit and attacked each other a few times.
Yeah, I got close. There was a
You
few
got
things
close.
you did where I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
were definitely the most aggressive in the episode. I definitely felt cornered at times, threatened.
You turned red too, like your face, but you held it in.
Yeah,
red.
yeah. I kept my composure fairly well. You slipped a number of times, probably more than you realize. But I think overall we did a good job of being positive.
One negative thing I will say is I don't think I recommend Mountain Dew Blue to anybody who wants their teeth to last more than a couple weeks. There is a lot of sweetie, sugary, syrupy stuff in this. What I'm on the hunt for, I just want to call out to any listeners in Canada. 7-Up just released something called like Shirley Temple 7-Up. And there's a zero sugar version. If anyone out there has any leads on where I can find the new Shirley Temple flavored 7-Up, please let me know. There's a Keep Canada Weird sticker in it for you.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye out for sure. I haven't seen it anywhere, but I also haven't been looking for it. So, if I can find it anywhere, I'll let you know.
Let me know. Yeah, I'm going to try to make this a thing. I'm going to start just celebrating the show by getting myself a new drink every time instead of just always like tea, Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure though, because then every week you've got to find time to pick out and locate that new drink that you're going to showcase on the show.
You have to source it.
Yeah. So I would be careful about how much you take on with that initially.
Yeah, because there'll be so many people tuning in to hear a new pop every week, and if I build it up and it blows up,
I also think there's a lot of comfort in when we say at the top of the show what we're drinking, and it's the same thing every week. There's a lot of comfort in that to the listeners who listen every week, and they're like, I just want to hear Jordan say orange pico tea. And I just want to hear Aaron say, caffeine-free Coca-Cola.
Yeah. And maybe like that could kind of change the format of the show a little bit, or at least change kind of the mood from the start.
Although, we could try it for a couple of weeks and see how the listeners
and we'll see what the
take to
feedback
it.
is. Yeah. If people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's next week, we'll promise each of us to have a brand new drink that we've never had before on this show.
Yeah. And if the show suffers, we revert
back to tea and sugar-free, caffeine-free.
There. We're always doing exciting stuff on this show. I love it.
That's why everyone says it's the most exciting show on the internet.
Well, with that said, let's put a bow on this. Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan Bus Stop Bonaparte. Until next time.
In the past, we talked about how if you're in a drive-through and someone's doing something weird, don't honk at them. Don't honk at anyone because it's going to ask for trouble. I think it's the same with like if someone's blocking your driveway, the polite thing to do, you just kind of park there for a sec. Maybe make eye contact. They see you, you see them. Naturally, human nature, they'll walk out of the way and you just pull in. There's no need to like raise your voice, get in a shouting match, film each other's license plates. That's a recipe for getting your house egged.
Well, Jordan, until next time, I'd appreciate it if you took it easier on the elderly. I think that you're revealing a dark hatred for the elderly on this show. And I think we need to squash that right away.
Which is not true, by the way. It's teenagers I have an issue with.
I'm too afraid to have an issue with teenagers because if they knew that I had an issue with them, I'd be worried about them egging my house.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. But if any of you want to contribute even more to this, we need all the correspondence we can get. If something weird happens in your neck of the woods, or if you have any thoughts, theories, or opinions on anything we discussed here tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by sending a voice message using the convenient voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. We're both excited to hear from you. I'm going to start wrapping this episode up, but before I do, let me end with some thanks. First, a big thanks to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If you had a voice message aired, you can email me your mailing address at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll have your Keep Canada Weird swag pack sent out to you, including your badge. I just ask that you wear that badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks to Aaron for another great evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A shout out to you, Nicole, for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. But lastly, and most importantly, a massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening to this show, as without your interest and your support, this would be as pointless as it would be impossible. Now, on the topic of support, a special thanks goes out to our newest premium feed subscribers, Rocky, Madeline, and Rosemary. Thank you for your generous support. And for those who want to support the show that way, a premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those new episodes 2 days early, get them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of episodes. That sounds like something you're interested in. You can go premium at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed's not for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing this episode on social media and letting all your like-minded friends know why they should listen. Your support means everything to us. Now, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let us know if you see anything weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere, good night.
I never even thought about this, but what if the pictures weren't UFO pictures, but were actually those salacious pictures that people may send each other without asking for them first? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, that kind of pic.
Do you think it could be something like that? I'm willing to send pictures, images, as long as someone's not going to embarrass me.
I mean, it sounds like if they are those kind of pictures, this person sounds like they want to be embarrassed. Like they're like,
maybe it's like a fetish.
Don't embarrass me if I show it to you.
and he wanted to. He said, like, I just want to play it again, and let's just think of it in the context of images of someone's.
Well, you can say penis.
Penis, okay. Let's listen to it in that context. Here it comes.
Willing to share images once I speak to somebody that is not going to make a fool out of me.
Would we? I think we would.
If it was his penis?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't think we'd even talk about it if it was.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I don't think we would. So I'm going to assume it's not his penis. I'm going to assume it's something not UFO related as well.
Something he made, and he's like, I'd show you it, but I don't want, if it's not perfect. I'm just learning this new craft.
Maybe it's a Keep Canada Weird sweater that he knitted.
But he's just learning knitting.
He's just learning knitting. I just started. I
I
really want to Keep Canada Weird sweater this winter, but you don't sell them on nighttimepodcast.com.
Yeah, I'll send images, but I want to talk to you first.
Yeah, it's just a prototype.